How you doing out there, folks? Yes, it's me again, the Invisible Man versus Merrick, Bank, and the Robot, Part 26. That's right, that's how many I've been doing, and, with this disguise. I've done more videos about, the harassing phone calls before. So in case you haven't seen one, here's your chance to see it. I'm adding, music. I've been putting music in the beginning. You might want, the songs that I had written. I've been doing it in the last few videos, but this time I want to try something different. I want to try to do a duet. Wearing this disguise, and then playing the demo at the same time, and me singing with it and all. I don't know how it's going to come out. But the demo I'm going to use is called We All Have God on Our Side. I wrote it over 40 years ago, like mostly all my songs. And this time the music is by Hollywood Music Productions. Remember, I told you I sent out a lot of different, songs to different companies, and this is one of them. Now, their demos are different. See, George Liberace demos were almost like a finished song, This is just a demo, where I could probably do the duet with it, because I remember the words. I don't have a teleprompter. It's not scripted. And this is all ad lib, everything. Once I get this done, we'll see how it comes out. I don't really know. I'm going to try to, to do it now. I don't want to delay, doing this. From every church and every steeple, the door is always open to all the people. All you have to do is go inside. It's easy after you've taken that first stride. We all have God on our side. There should be nothing to hide. No matter how young or how old, God knows how your life will unfold. If we use the scriptures as our guide, then we'll go far and wide. We all have God on our side. There should be nothing to hide. Once we found that special feeling within, now you know it's time to begin. Temptations will always be there, but it's up to you to be aware. We all have God on our side. There should be nothing to hide. Once we leave this earth, where we go depends on our work. Best way to prepare for this trip is to believe in, even on what you can't get a grip. You want God on your side. You must remember not to give up no matter how hard you've tried. Okay, I don't know how that came out. It's just not something you can really rehearse, you know, because I know that. Sometimes I could just do it like that, one time like that, and it might come out all right. It's hard to do, you know, because I don't have a lot of equipment here to do it, you know. But I just thought of that, you know, because even though my songs are over, 40 years ago, this demo that you just heard, and with me trying to do a duet with it, well, I don't know. We'll see. It's on there now, and I'm going to go now and try to discuss these harassing phone calls. This all started back in 2018. I've been paying the bills. We combined all our money, and I've been doing that for over 40 years. And we had a lot of problems with credit, over that time period. But in the last 8 years, I've been paying our credit on time. And our credit was not bad, It wasn't really improving a lot because we had too many accounts. We both did. Because I know in order to improve the credit score, you got to have some available credit. But yet you don't really want to pay off the accounts. Because I think it's better to have a little credit showing. Like I'm trying to pay off some of the accounts. So what happened was, based on all that, like I said, in 2018, the mail came. I gave Marie a letter that was, for her. So I figured out. I didn't even know what it was. And, her lack of interest and mine weren't that good, really, right at that time period. And she's suffering from that general anxiety disorder. So, that's how part of her lack of interest. We're going to the doctors every month, and taking our medications and all. And that's what a doctor diagnoses, her with. But it's not like going to the hospital and getting an extensive test. So I just wanted to mention that. Okay, she opens the letter. She's looking at it. I don't even think it was any. I thought it was junk mail, matter of fact. She says, Frankie. I said, what is it, Marie? Merrick Bank. I don't know who they are. I never heard of them, but they want to give me $600 credit. I said, oh, that's great, Marie. It sounds good. I'm going to encourage it, She said, can you look at it? Because I don't understand this. Double the credit line. I said, let me see it. I never saw that offer before. It says, if you make 7 on-time payments, then they're going to give you another $600. So that'll be $1,200 altogether. But, it's going to take 7 months, paying every month. Oh, Frankie, I want it. I don't care. You pay the bills anyway. You can use it and I can use it. I said, okay. Because I saw how excited she was. I didn't want to change it, the trend there. So I said, well, we could do it. You could do it over the phone or on the computer. She says, well, I don't want to do it over the phone because I might say something wrong and mess it up, And I said, well, because I think on those kind of accounts, you might have to talk to a representative. Maybe. Maybe not. But with all that information, I think so. I said, all right, we'll do the computer. She says, I'm going to let you punch it in, Marie. So she said, okay. So let's go over to the table. There's the computer. I'll turn it on. I know you're not too anxious for the computer, but she said for this I am. Because it's something she wants. She didn't care about the computer. So, okay, I turned everything on. I'm going to, get Merrick Bank on the screen. And then you can punch in the information. Oh, with the keyboard? And I said, yeah. Oh, I know how to type. So, no problem. I want to let you do it and make you, it's your account. Make you fill it all in, and you'll feel good about it because you're getting something that you want. Okay, so, okay, we're going to start it. Now, I got the application on the screen. And the name, address, phone numbers, you know how it is. So, okay, so I set the cursor up, and it said, put your first name. And I just told her what to do. She typed it in. Because, in these kind of applications, it's good when 2 people do it. Because I know I make a lot of mistakes. I'm trying to do it by myself in a hurry and all. So I said, okay, take your time, Marie, type it in. The address. She knew it all. Apartment number, you know, the whole thing, the city, everything, the phone numbers. I know she knows the phone numbers because she uses the phones, you know. She knew the numbers because she give it to everybody, you know. So he took care of that. It's nice when, for her to do that and me watch, it's kind of, you know, really a lot easier than me trying to do all that. You know, I know all the information like she does. Okay, so we got down there. Now we're at authorized user. So I set it up because it's asking, you know, my information. Oh, I know, it's you. I said, oh, good, Merrick. Punch in my name and whatever you have to fill in. Because on all the MasterCard Visa accounts, if it was her account, she put me on it. My account, I put her. So she knows all that. So, okay, now, she said, what's all that writing? I said, well, I'm going to read it. I have an idea what it is, and I'm going to tell you. Because you got to check that box, and then, you know, then the application's just about finished. So I told Marie, you got to give them permission to call you on those phone numbers that you put up there, and, you know, using an auto dollar and text messages and email and all that stuff. You know, I don't care nothing about that if they want to call me. I said, yeah, Marie, but you got to get permission, and if you don't, she said, what's going to happen? They're not going to give you the account. She said, well, I don't care about that. What do I have to do? So she touched the screen. She checked it. And she said, what else? I said, well, let's scan it down. You understand it all? She said, yeah, I'm not worried about that. Okay, so she hit submit. And it went in. I said, see, Marie, because if we wouldn't have filled it in right, it wouldn't have went in. You know, then it goes back and you got to see where we messed up. But we didn't mess nothing up. She said, oh, good. There's one thing I want to mention here. You know, that permission to call on the cell phone, I don't think that's right. Because that's an offer, and they're combining that with that offer, getting that permission. I don't think so. Because first of all, they may have a provider making those calls. So I think that provider is supposed to have some kind of form for you to sign to agree that they're going to call you. If they don't do it, they don't do that. Maybe that's why there's a problem that they have with litigation and all. So I don't know. So okay, we submitted. You know, Marie took care of that. I said, Marie, I'm going to check the email. See, you know, if everything really went through, because they might email and, you know, say something. So I put in the screen and got the email, and it says, congratulations, your application has been approved for double the credit line offer, and your cards should come in the mail in 7 to 10 business days. Hey, Marie was yelling, yay, I'm happy. You can wait 7 to 10 business days, right, Marie? I said, oh, sure. So in the meantime, that's in, that's done. You don't have to worry. I made a file, you know, to put all the stuff in it, to start a file for Merrick Bank. Because now it's going to be part of my, you know, my payments, you know. So, okay, so I went over things with Marie. Because I said, I know you haven't ordered anything recently because our credit has been, you know, pretty much used up. So I said, now, when you call up for your orders, do not give your personal information. You know what that is, right? Social Security and date of birth. You don't have to give none of that to make those orders. And she said, what do you mean? I said, you don't have to. Now, if you were talking to Merrick Bank, and they happen to call and they, you know, they want to make sure it's you, so they might ask for that information. Because they already have it on file. Okay, so now you order something, you just give the card number, and you give the expiration date, and there's a security code on the back. Then you have to give that. It shows that you have the card, you know. So she seemed to understand. I impressed upon her. I know you'll remember it all, Marie, because you want to order and you don't want to mess up the account, right? She said, that's right. I can't wait. She said, I had a few things written down that I might want to order. So, okay, so in the next week to 10 days, write down the items. You know, don't be ordering a lot of stuff at one time. You know, order a few things, and little by little. And, you know, if you order anything, you know, just write it down and let me know. So I can keep track to make sure. And don't sign up. Only do a one-time payment. You know, for vitamins and all that. Don't sign up to do every month automatic. because in case you don't like it, it doesn't work. Then we got all that problem. They keep putting those payments in, you know. She says, I understand. Don't worry, Frankie. I don't want to mess it up. I said, okay. So we went about our business, and Marie seemed happier now. We were discussing things like before and all. It was pretty good. You know, I liked it. That's where I said that offer. Normally I wouldn't have taken it, but because, you know, it made her so happy, I figured I'll let her order it. I'm going to pay it anyway, so what do I... You know, it's in her name and all. So about a week or so, what do you think? The cards came. And boy, when I showed it to Marie, she knew right away. I said, look at that. It's in one of those mailers. You can feel the cards. Okay, Marie, let me give this to you. I know you've been waiting for this. Oh, Frankie. Oh, I know it's the cards. I can tell. I can feel it. So I said, open it up. She gave me my card and hers. I said, oh, wow, look at that design, you know? Wow. It has an eagle, you know, with the flag. It was beautiful. I mean, I have to admit, normally I would take the plain card, but she picked a good design. I'm going to see if I can show it to you now. Let's see. I'm going to try this. This is not easy to do. Let's see. It's not coming out here. Here we go. You can see it now. Merrick Bank. See that? That's a design. See it? And it's got name on there. The account number is the same. Expiration is June 2023. And there it is. Let's see how that... Yeah, not bad. Now let's see if I can show... Because we each got a card. Let me see if I can do this. You know, I'm doing so many things here. Like I said, multitasking. I'm going to try to see if I can do this. And show, you know, show my card here. Here it is. There it is. How you like that? Yeah, it's a nice design, you know. Look at that. Merrick Bank. Look at that. It's nice. I mean, that's one thing I'll say. They do have a lot of nice designs, you know. Whoever designed these cards, that part I like. It's got the chip and all. See it? Yeah, it's good. It's good, you know. Just want to take a good look at that. So now that's in. This time I had it, you know, to show it, because I don't show it in all my videos. So that should do it. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, we'll put that back. Now that we got the cards, so we have to activate it. He said, you're going to do it? I said, yeah, I'll take care of that. Don't worry, it only takes a few minutes. So I activated the cards. So, okay, Marie, I know you want to order, so go ahead. Just be careful. You know, we're going to, you know, we have $600. You know, I want it to last 7 months, you know, but you know, if it would go over, you know, I don't want to be paying no over limit fee and all that. So she used it, and I used it to try to transfer some bills. Because it's double the credit line. It doesn't have any frills. That's why I'm going over all this. There's a membership fee. Authorized user fee. No balance transfer. That was one of the things I would have liked. But it doesn't have it. So, and they're going to charge late fee. They all do. And they're going to charge cash advance fees. There's so much stuff. I was aware of all that, but I didn't tell Marie too much of that. So we were using it when the first bill came in. I looked it over, right? Remember, $600 credit, right? It wasn't $600 credit. It's only about $5. Because as soon as it came in, I saw it. Membership fee for the whole year. And that authorized user fee. So you just about got $100 just so you really only have $500. See, that's how they give you the credit, but they're not giving you as much as you think, you know. That was no problem. She's ordering everything. I'm paying and all. Then the 7 months passed. I said, Marie, I checked. The $600 went in for the double the credit line. Oh, Frankie, I can order more. I said, yeah, well, yeah. You can just keep ordering. Just keep it down, you know. Much as, you know, I'm paying it. So, you know, I'm not only going to be buying much with it myself, you know. So everything's going on pretty good, you know. We kept going to our doctors every month, taking our medications. But Marie started to get a little sicker again, you know, because the novelty of that all wore off, you know. So went to the doctors, and she, you know, she has this congestion, you know. It's like we thought it was bronchitis. So the doctor said, here, I'll give you an inhaler. She took that and some antibiotics. It seemed to help. And then we're going every month. Then he gave her different antibiotics, and it wasn't working. She was getting worse. I told the doctor, he said, Frank, then best thing you get her into the hospital, because, we're in an office here. We can only, check so much, But I think she needs to be, complete examination, I talked to Marie, she said, yeah, Frankie, I'm not feeling good, and I want to feel better. And, I said, yeah, I don't want to see you like that. You were doing good. Okay, so I was in the hospital for a few days. They gave all the tests you could think of. And I know for sure that the diagnosis that they gave was pretty accurate. They said she's got Alzheimer's, the onset of it, dementia, anemia, and this respiratory distress was, I think, the worst thing, of everything. And, her lack of interest and all. So I talked to the doctors, and they said, Frank, she's going to have to go into a nursing home. She won't be able to at home in the beginning anyway. Best to get her that 24/7 care, So, she can, it's long-term care, but she can get over and come back, to you. So I said, okay. And I didn't know where it is. He said, do you have any idea? I said, no. I never dealt with nursing homes. And I went to this, I guess, secretary there. And she said, there's plenty of nursing homes in your zip code. So I said, well, can you tell me some of the addresses? And when they mentioned one street that I know where, near where we are. And I found that's about a mile. I could walk it, So I walked in and come back, and also, once she got in the nursing home, at first she was a little bit weak, and she got some therapy and started with the new medications and all. So she was actually responding pretty good. After 4 months, it was looking good, that she might be able to come home. But, I'm still paying Merrick Bank, of course, even though my income was cut a little bit because of her being in the nursing home. I was considered a community spouse, So it was all right, and I had to stop some of the bills because I didn't have enough money, No, I could pay some, as long as I had enough for the housing costs, and utilities. And then I had enough to pay some bills, so I tried to pay the ones that I knew, probably the lower ones. But I paid Merrick Bank, of course. That was the main one. So that went on for a while, and then, like I said, after the 4 months, she was really doing good. She was talking, and she was paying attention more, and a lot of things. She just looked better, and she said she was feeling a little bit better. One of the things she asked me, would you believe it? Frankie, are you still paying Merrick Bank? I hope so. Don't let them go, because I don't want my credit ruined, I'd like that account. I said, sure, Marie, no problem. You let me know what you want, and I'll getting it for you. Anyway, I've been using it to bring things here for you. So the next month, this is the 5th month, I noticed she started to cough a little bit, congestion. I tell these people that work there, but they give you some, answers. Don't worry about it. If she's getting care here 24/7, I talk to the different nurses, and the doctor comes often, and so does a registered nurse. So they're going to notice it, because if they feel that they could change the medication, or if they think she needs to go in the hospital, then then they'll do it. Not really, So I said, okay. I didn't want to, upset these people too much, because I was kind of annoyed there anyway, because they're so short-handed. Then on the weekends, they're even more short-handed. And I made sure I went on the weekends. So this is getting towards the end of the 5th month. So I said, well, let me try to go a little more. I couldn't go every day. So I went a Thursday, a Saturday, and a Monday. And it was about the same. She was about the same. I noticed her interest wasn't as good, and she was coughing and congestion. And I said, okay, then on that day that I saw her, the last day before, she passed away, she was okay, she still knew me. She doesn't forget me, of course not. And, I brought some food for me to eat with her, and with her food, and some things she liked. And we ate in the dining room. Yeah, they have a dining room. It's pretty nice, the way it is. And I got her back in her room, and I told her, I have to go, Marie, because, I got to watch this. It was kind of warm that day, too, and I got to be careful. So I'm walking that distance, and I'm taking these pills that make you, make you pee, keep my blood pressure down and all. I don't want to get dehydrated. So I had brought water with me to drink and all. I said, I better get going. It's kind of hot out today and humid. And I have a long walk. She understood everything. And when you're going to come again? I said, as soon as I can, Marie. So I waited a few days. I figured, well, she was still wasn't looking too bad. I didn't expect when I went there, it was on a Saturday around lunchtime. She's in the bed, and she looks like she's in a stupor, She's only moving and all. She's turned on her side and all, and I asked the roommate, and the roommate said she's been like that a couple of days. I said, I don't know why they're not calling me, because I would have come right away to make sure I'm there, if I can support her, So the woman come with the lunch, and I said to her, help me get get her up in the bed. So she helped me, and put the table across and all. And Marie sat up. She could still move around, and she couldn't open her eyes. I don't know what. I guess she's so tired or knocked out or what it is. So the food is, she had a they call puree diet, but then they did it on a mesh diet, So she had all the food there. It was meat. It all looks the same. It's soft, I think it was turkey. Really can't tell. It all looks the same, Mashed potatoes and coleslaw and applesauce. So I start feeding her very slowly. A little bit. I got her to, she still could move enough to eat and swallow, very slowly, a little bit. And some water to wash it down. And I could see she was drifting off, So I better get her back down quiet, I don't want to aggravate it, anything was going on there with her. To me, it looked like she just was tired. She maybe with that mental state she's in, and she just didn't care, Her hope, she gave up hope, and I feel bad about it, but what can I do? So I start trying to massage her. I said, well, maybe I can get her. You never know. I got a little food into her. Maybe I can get her, her blood circulation and try to get her, to get up again and all. No, wouldn't respond, And then I, at home when she would sleep like that, because she's a pretty sound sleeper, I used to have trouble getting her up at home. So I start massaging her feet, and she right away said, stop that, Frankie. Well, I said, okay, Marie, you know what? I better let you be, and then I'll come back again. And then, I went home, and I told the people, they said, we know her condition. We have charts and everything. I said, okay. So on my way home, I was so upset. I was so afraid, of everything, what's going to happen, And I got home, or I almost got hit by a car. Wasn't paying attention. I just walked out in the street. I didn't even look. Car honked. Somebody grabbed and pulled me back. I said, thanks for doing that. I'm so upset, And this guy said, you want me to, you don't have, how far you got to go? I said, about a mile up the road. It's straight away. He said, you want me to go with you? He said, well, once I got across that street, there really wasn't any big streets, so I was all right. I got home. I was upset. I couldn't sleep. I was restless, and then the phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I saw it on the caller ID nursing home. I said, oh, well, I was hoping that she started to respond a little. Maybe they got her into the hospital, I would have felt better about that. No, this nurse tells me she just came on duty. She was doing her bed check, and she found Marie unresponsive. So right away, she started to try to work on her to, to make her come around. They called the 911 while they were doing that. 911 came, and they pronounced her dead. So, and that was it. I couldn't do too much. I was so alone. Felt so alone. Like now, I don't have any family or nothing. Marie was my family, so. Well, I just said I have to, the best I can, try to go on, So right away, I tried to, took care of all the things I had to take care of, the arrangements. And then the bills. I try to do what I can with all these bills. We have a lot of credit cards. Both of us, like over 20, I guess, offhand. I start contacting them by mail and send them heads-up letters, and, they're different, MasterCard and creditors, and are different than those store cards. Those mail order ones, they're a little different. So I send certified letters and return receipt and all that. And the calls still kept coming. Some of them stopped and then they started up again because I guess they don't. See, the creditor doesn't have to abide by that. That cease and desist letter. Where the debt collector does. See, that's what these laws, the way they're formulated, it's for both, and that's all the, I guess, loopholes and all. So I kept the phone log though for all the calls. I figured I better do this. I know to do that. But I know I need help and I don't know what to do. So I decided, I looked up online, and I looked up one of the banks. And a lawyer pops up. They have them ads, they pop up. And I said, if you need help or you're getting harassing phone calls, so I contacted him. He right away answers me. He says, I'm sorry about your loss. I'm going to try to help you as much as I can. I know you're upset, and also, he's a consumer advocate attorney, so he's trying to help the consumer. So I told him everything, and he said, okay, I don't charge for my service. If I get you any money or for these settlements, I don't take a percentage. So at least you don't have to worry about that, and I can stop the calls. And he did. All the calls stopped and all, and I appreciate it so much. So everything seems all right. But see, I was still paying Merrick Bank. I didn't tell him that, because I knew I had enough accounts. I figured at least I keep the one. It was the one that Marie liked so much, In memory of her, I try to keep paying it. But a few months passed, there was no calls or nothing. And then I couldn't pay Merrick Bank. I knew nothing was going to happen the first month. But when I got the statement, it showed a late fee, $39, and, finance charges and all that. Okay, so I said, let me see. Then all of a sudden, before that was due again, the phone call started. First on the landline, then on the cell phone, both. This was in November of 2019. And everything was quiet. I'm still upset. I'm suffering from this emotional distress. It's really, for us to be together all that time, over 40 years, and now I'm all alone with no family. And the income was cut in half. I'm not in, that good a shape, and I have health conditions too, to be concerned with. So I start keeping track of the calls. Good thing I have phone log. I'm glad. That's the main thing you got to do. Keep a phone log. If you're getting any kind of calls from debt collectors or creditors. Okay, so I noticed. I waited a couple of weeks and I said, I don't like this, They call twice as much on the landline as the cell phone. And I noticed they're using the same numbers. They call on a Monday, they use that number. They call on Tuesday, a different number. Wednesday, a different number, and so forth and so on. Altogether, 6 different numbers. And they were calling on Sunday and all. Put it this way. There's 7 days, but they use 6 numbers. I don't know if this has anything to do with it. But I noticed the number they used on Saturday, maybe make the 4 calls. Then on Sunday, if they called twice, it was the same number. But then on Monday, back to a different number. But there was 6 different numbers. So on the cell phone, on the cell phone, it just comes up the number. It's not going to come up their name. And it's going to come up maybe a state, If it was a, say, 267 number, might come up Pennsylvania, whatever. But that's one of the problems. That's where the difference is in these laws, because of that cell phone. So what I did was, since it was 2 weeks, I took the number off of the landline, and the number was on the cell phone, since I wasn't getting many calls. Then I put it in the contacts. I added it, and then I put Merrick Banks. So that when they called, after the first week or so, it was coming up on the cell phone, Merrick Bank, and it was coming up on the landline, Merrick Bank. So it was easier for me to keep the phone log that way. So I said, okay, this is getting too much. I don't know, I got to stop this. So I called the attorney. He says, Frank, I deal with Merrick Bank all the time. You don't have to withstand that, and I can help you. So I had all the information. I had the phone logs and all. And he said, I'm going to put litigation in against them. I talked to him and one of his other lawyers too. He's got other lawyers in the office. You know, they're all really good. So he took care of that. He emailed me the contract between me and him, and I signed it and sent it back, and then I emailed him the phone log. That's to say, he's in San Diego, I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. See, it doesn't matter, because I didn't have to go to his office or anything like that. He took care of it like he did with all the other accounts I had. So, okay, as soon as I did it, the call stopped after a couple of days. First the cell phone and then the landline. So it wouldn't have stopped if I didn't contact him. So I know that he had to contact Merrick Bank. So everything was quiet. You know, this was in November 2018. So now he's got the litigation against them, you know, for doing these calls. And he took off the phone log some calls that were kind of close together. He couldn't put them all. You know, in the litigation, there's an example. He put an example of that. Now, then he also is litigating against them for calling me about somebody else's bill. That bill is not in my name. It's in Marie's name. We have different names. We're not legally married, so. And common law marriage doesn't even count in Pennsylvania. It hasn't counted for over 20 years. Well, they can't do much about it, you know, as far as collecting from me. But I'm the one that has the litigation against them. Not Marie, but I don't think it matters. I am on the account as an authorized user. So I can hold them responsible for making a call, but they can't hold me responsible for that debt. So this is all because they have it set up like that to make those calls. The robot, to make all those calls. Okay, let's see now. The call stopped, and I'm getting the statements from Merrick Bank, and it's showing the late fee and the finance charges. The last statement I just got, it's already up to, I think it's up to $1,500 from $1,200. When I stopped paying, it was actually right under the limit. That's the trouble with those late fees. I mean, you could just be late. If I would have paid, then nothing would have happened. Like as soon as the bill came and I saw it was late and I would have paid the past due, I could have kept doing that and nothing would have happened. But it triggers the calls. Nobody called here. Not one flesh and blood person called on all those calls. I got, it was about, I think, 60 calls. The landline and the cell phone. That's how many in only 2 weeks. I mean, there's enough there, you know. Now this litigation is still pending. That's why I was satisfied with it. I wasn't, you know, I'm upset. So what happened? January 2nd of 2020 of this year, their call started. I said, wait a minute, what's going on here? There's litigation against them and all? So the 2nd of January, like I said, now it's just on the landline, not the cell phone. I wonder why. I thought maybe they're in trouble for that already. There's litigation and they're going to start calling me again? That's why I couldn't understand it. You know, so it went for a while. I let it go for a couple of weeks again. Maybe 3 weeks, because I wanted to see, because it was only the landline, and I know that they're harassing. They're harassing phone calls. They were mostly calling more in the afternoon and evening. For whatever reason, it's the way they have it set up. They have different, I guess, software for that. So the calls, you know, kept coming, but not on Sunday. Why? Why is that? They called me before on Sunday. So that's, I guess that's one of their different, I guess they use a different system they use for different ways they want to collect it. I call it psychological warfare, because that's what they're doing. They're calling me now, and all of a sudden, Saturday night, 4 calls pretty close together, 6 o'clock, 7:30, 8:15, you know, like that, something like that. That's why you have to have the phone log, because see, you can see all that. You wouldn't know that. You might not realize it. You know they're calling and bothering you, but you wouldn't realize exactly how they're doing it. Okay, so no calls on Sunday, 4 times on Saturday, right? And then Monday, what do you think? Oh, no calls until Monday afternoon and evening. 4 calls again. So what's that doing? That's not harassment? I'm the person that realizes what it is, and I know because I have a lot of experience. That's not harassment. But they give you a false sense of security, huh? No call Sunday, then Monday, nothing until Monday afternoon and evening, and then back to the 4 calls again. I mean, that's definitely harassment. They don't leave a message or nothing again. And you pick it up, nobody's there. Say hello, and it's dead air, and then it goes to the busy signal, because as soon as it's disconnected, the robot's dialing more calls. Keeps dialing the calls. Okay, so that went on, and I contacted the lawyer again. He said, Frank, I'll make them, I'm going to reach out to them. And I just sent him an email. I don't want to be calling so much there, if I didn't have to. Because I know I already have him. He's got litigation in. So I know that there should be no problem. A week or so later, the calls are still coming in. And I'm wondering what's happening. I contacted him again. He said, Frank, we'll make them stop. Maybe it's a little more difficult that way, because once they start that on, however they're, he's dealing with the legal team of Merrick Bank in California where he is. I think he's dealing with the office there or something, whatever he has to do, he knows what to do. The other call stopped again. And I said, oh, good. Now I try to figure out what, I'm not going to bother him. He knows what to do. He knows they do that, unethical tactics. He already knows the reason why it happened. He didn't care about it because he knows he's got the litigation in. But I was going over the cardholder agreement, when the cards came. And I just looked up. It's like 32 different headings. It's all folded. You know how it comes. You open it up and there's 4 columns on each page. It's a fine print. My God. I know my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. I can read everything else. But reading glasses, I couldn't read it. With a magnifying glass, I could barely read it. So I wrote it all down, and then I read it, on one of these videos I've been doing, and I went over it. And I found out, it says about the calls that you got to give them permission to use the auto dialer to call you on the cell phone and landline and all that, text messages and everything, or they may not give you the credit. You have to agree to that. It also mentions about if you have an attorney, that you got to give them, name, address, phone number, and the attorney's supposed to contact them within 45 days. If he doesn't and they can't contact them in 45 days, then they're going to start contacting you again. See, they don't say call in. They said then they're going to start to contact you again. So I realized it. Remember I told you about a month and a half the call started again. So I was counting the days. It was about the 18th, I think, when he put the litigation in. So November has 30 days. So 12 days from November. And you add, December had 31. That's 43. And January 1st is 44, and January 2nd is 45. They'll give or take a day in there, but it come out to 45 days, and they started those calls. I don't think they were supposed to. But I know they have different departments. You got the credit department, the customer service department, the legal department, the billing department, so they're all probably have a disconnect there. It's probably already set up that when they were making the calls in November 2019, so after 45, if the call stopped, it may have it set up that in 45 days they're going to make contact again, regardless of that litigation. So something's not right there, but I know I have an attorney, so I'm not worried about it. As long as those calls stop, that's my main thing. I don't need to have all those calls, and nice and quiet in here, and I want to keep it that way. Now, so it's still pending right now, and I'm doing all these videos in the meantime. I know I got a great lawyer. Oh, I'm so happy with him. For all the cases he worked on me, for me. And now this one, this is probably the biggest one of all of them, because this is the one he deals with the most. And he knows how to deal with them. He knows who to deal with. And, with litigation pending like this, they want to bother me some more about that again after that. Now, that's what really got me. That's why I got so ticked off. Because it was in January when they started to call. That's when I started all this. I called it bad-mouthing, venting my anger and everything. Because I was, I'm already struggling as it is, Well, they don't know it and they don't care. So, I started with the videos, Then when they still kept calling, and now they stopped calling, right? And it's been about a month or so. So, of course, I'm going to do, look how many videos I'm doing. This is the 26th one. For every day that they call me, I want to keep doing these videos. Of course, if it gets settled, because if my attorney says, Frank, you can stop the videos now, because everything's settled or whatever, I'll do it. If he tells me, I'll do it. But if not, because I'm also endorsing him too, as my appreciation for all the help he gave me. You've probably seen it on Twitter. All the videos on YouTube, and every one of them I mentioned this attorney. He's really so good. I couldn't get a better attorney no matter what. He's even better than most of your attorneys because he's a consumer advocate attorney. He cares more about it. You have other attorneys that do their credit cards and all that. But not like this guy, and I'm not even paying. That's what the thing about it, Okay, so his name is Paul Mankin, MANKIN. Toll-free number, 800-219-3577. That's 800-219-3577. So if you have any problem with harassing phone calls from creditors or debt collectors, Merrick Bank or any bank, you don't have to withstand it. Now, he can stop the calls. It's a free consultation. He doesn't take any money, any percentage, if he gets you money. So keep that all in mind. Again, I'll say you need to have the phone locked. I mean, it seems like it's simple, but it's not as simple as you think. You need to have that on both. If you have two numbers like I have, you need a page for each one. So Merrick Bank, I have Merrick Bank cell phone, Merrick Bank landline, and I put the information on each one. That's how I know how many calls. And it was like 19 calls on the cell phone and 43 on the landline. That was in November of 2019. See, I know all that because I wrote it down. By having that, he needs that to use, because Merrick Bank can say, well, we didn't keep the records of that, or some way to try to get around it, But it's up to Merrick Bank right now. In my case, the burden of proof is on them. They're going to say they didn't make the calls. They made the calls. If they say they have permission. When you give permission, you don't give them permission to harass you, do you? You give them permission to call you if they need to service your account, or to contact you about the cardholder agreement, anything in there, because I've been going over all that. So all they're doing is they're getting away with all this because the laws, the way they are. And the way I say it favors the creditor and debt collector, because they're using it. I hope they don't change it, where they're favoring them even more. So they're taking the law. They're not supposed to call you before 8 a.m. or after 9 p.m., and that's exactly, they don't, right? Because they know if they do. I never had that happen. I did have it happen before. I had it happen, years before this started with these laws. I had it happen. I had this woman call me 7:30 in the morning, say, ask my name. I said, yeah, what do you want? I didn't even think about what it was. I thought it might be a wrong number, or maybe somebody from the family or something. Oh, no. She says, I'm from this bank, and you owe money, and you're going to have to pay, or we're going to take action on you. I said, what do you mean? What are you talking to me like that for? You want somebody to pay? I said, I can't pay right now. Well, you're going to have to pay, or else. We're going to keep contacting you, and we're going to come to your work. We're going to do it. All this stuff she was telling me. I said, look, lady, you don't contact somebody like this early in the morning, but she said, we can call you anytime we want. You owe the money. I said, okay, you know what? Goodbye, and I hung up. That was before these laws came into effect by call, and that's what caused it. All the complaints and all, that's what causes these laws to come into effect. Formulated because they got a lot of complaints. And for that same thing about that, calling early or late at night and all that, to bother you. They could do it then. They could threaten you. They could do all that. Now if they do it, there is a violation of the law. See, the problem here with these laws, maybe I'm wrong, but you have to prove it. And I've contacted the Consumer Protection Bureau before, and they told me they don't intervene. In other words, they're not going to go after the debt collector. You have to get your attorney to do it. So that's where this attorney comes in. See, I call him like the credit card police, because he's a consumer advocate attorney, and he's going after Merrick Bank because he knows they violated the law. So he's like to make them be held accountable. But if not, they get away with it. And they got away with it so much that it's probably the norm right now for Merrick Bank and these other banks and debt collectors to do that. So that's why you need to have the attorney. And in this case, be glad that he doesn't charge, He will get paid. If he gets a settlement, he can charge more depending on how much time he's put into it, They have to pay him. If we win the case, they have to pay in the court costs. In this particular case, I know it varies. And plus, if it's a jury trial, well, I don't think they're going to go for a jury trial. This is not really a big amount of money that's owed. So I'm going over all this. Now, say you get this attorney. Be glad if he takes your case. More than likely he will. He'll probably give you advice and all. It's not costing you nothing. And probably, if he does, the call stops. It doesn't mean you don't owe the money. You still owe the debt. Some people might think, oh, well, I got the lawyer and all. Maybe he could get it wiped out. No, it doesn't work like that. So you owe the debt. Maybe you can pay it later on. Who knows? But once you stop paying, like all the accounts I stopped paying in 2019 for all those accounts in my name, now what happens is the clock starts running from the last payment. So in Pennsylvania, statute of limitations is 4 years. So that means in less than 4 years from now, those debts are legally forgiven. But on the credit report, it might take 7 years. To wipe out all that stuff if you want your credit clear. It's not a good idea to start them accounts up again. Now, since Marie passed away, her account is uncollectible because it was in her name. She's the card holder. And like I said before, I'm not a joint card holder. I'm not a co-signer. And we're not legally married. So they can't even really come after me. But see, I'm going after them because of the calls. Because when they made all the calls, remember, it's just auto dialing and the robot and all that. All they know is that calls were made and they don't care who answers it because they wouldn't know who answered it. Because they're not leaving a message and they're not letting you talk to them. So that if they would have called, and like when it became late on that first month, I know I wasn't going to be able to pay. I would have told them that Marie passed away. Unless I have an attorney also. Well, I didn't have the attorney then. I would have told them I do have an attorney. Which I did because he did all the other cases. I would have gave them the information and all, and I would have probably told them to contact them too, but they didn't call. They didn't call with a live person. They would have done that, and I would have talked to them in this case. Well, I would have told them what happened. They would have probably went to a supervisor. He would have said, you need a death certificate. Once we get that account's uncollectible, and it'll be taken care of. And what does that mean? No calls at all. I wouldn't have got the calls in November of 2019, and I wouldn't have got the calls in January of 2020. What else does it mean? There wouldn't be no litigation against them, and I wouldn't be doing all these videos and all that. So you see, they could have resolved some of the cases. They could have avoided it. But they don't want to do it that way. What are they going to do? Replace all those customer care representatives that are taking incoming calls with robots? They might. They may only have a few. They may have the calls relayed to them, whatever the people they're calling for, Do everything automated, So remember the things I'm telling you. There's no reason to put up with it. There are laws to protect you. I know a lot of people out there is probably saying, well, I can't afford a lawyer. It costs me more than what I owe. But see, I'm telling you, the consumer advocate attorney, in this case, there's a lot of them. But there's also a lot of other lawyers. Like in case Merrick Bank would have sued me, I think this lawyer probably also takes care of it. But if I would have had to get a different attorney for that case, well, it could happen, you know. It's better for you or anybody else to get them first. Go after them before they go after you. Better that way. Put you in a better position, you know. So don't make any deals with no debt collectors and none of that. I'm just telling you the best advice. Because maybe you did have accounts from before and you didn't pay. Maybe you had some medical bills and it went to collection. And they start calling you, don't make a deal. Because the statute of limitations still applies for that. For those accounts. So I hope all this information I'm giving you is helpful. I've been doing it enough. But again, hopefully I'm reaching somebody. Like this is the 26th video with this invisible man gimmick. And I'm sure every time I put a video out there, since I'm putting them so close together, I'm sure somebody might see it. Somebody's going to see them later on. There's so many of them. It's about the same thing. Like I said, the content is the same. I may say it in a different way. Like this time I showed the credit cards on the screen. To show they exist, Just to make me look in a better light, Like I said it before. I use this invisible man because Merrick Bank is invisible. You can't see who's making the calls. And they don't even identify themselves. Gotta be, it's robot. That's where I got the robot. And then in this case, see, I'm invisible. Well, you're invisible because I can't see anybody out there. When I'm doing this video. And there's plenty of people looking at these videos because I look at the views, So you're invisible to me. And Merrick Bank is invisible to me. Because I can't see them. Who's doing all that, That's why I started this gimmick. Now, transparent, I was kind of compare, I've done this in one of the videos. I'm transparent. Because I have nothing to hide, Everything I say is so. Now, Merrick Bank is not transparent. They can't be transparent if they're unethical. Because they do have something to hide. They're hiding behind that robot, making all those calls, And like I said, I go over all that before. Like, like say you put a clear pitcher of water on the table, right? You look at it, right? You can see through it. If you had something on the other side, you could see through it, but it might be blurry, but it's transparent. So I mentioned that transparent compared to invisible. I had mentioned it before. I'm trying to cover as many things as I can. So if you are having problems, I don't think you should put up with it. I'm giving you a lot of advice from my experience, because through the years, I have different credit cards through the years. We both did, Now this is the last card, Is this Merrick Bank one that me and Marie shared together, We shared all our other ones, how we started out and all with everything. Now it had to be this Merrick Bank card that was the last, that we lived our life to the end there, and it was that card. So that has some significance to me, Because it was what was going on during this period of time. I don't know. The same outcome might have happened. Marie probably could have still passed away, but she might have lived longer because of that. Because that actually, she was feeling better then. She was in the doldrums and all. But when that card, how excited I told you she was. So I'm a little more, upset over it because of that. And it's a tactic that they use, I'll keep going over this, and as I come up with other things, I'm going to keep doing videos, I guess. I've been doing it. And I'm trying to just keep doing. I know when I look at the views, I'm still getting views. So that means most people, if you already viewed it and you see it again, oh, that's the Invisible Man, this guy, you know. You already know it's about harassing phone calls, and you might not even bother to view it. But if I keep getting views like I do every day, if I add them all together, I definitely wouldn't have got that many views in one if I just put it on once. And say in the last month, I just put it on once. You know, this video I'm making now, well, I'll get some views and maybe the next day, but after the first day or so, probably wouldn't have been getting any views. And that's my point. I'm trying to get as many views as I can, and this way I'm doing it. And I'm really trying to make people aware of what you can do. You don't have to take it. I repeat the same things, but I'm trying to make a point, you know. Okay, now in the description, I'm going to have, my email and all, and I'm going to have the lawyer's address and phone number, everything. I've already repeated it, but there isn't, I'm going to put his email address in there. You feel more comfortable, you can contact him by email, and maybe you could put the phone log and all, in the bank that you're dealing with, and you could do it that way, and he'll answer you by email if you don't want to do it, by phone. It still counts the same way, I did a lot by email with this attorney. But now I'm going to just go over this phone log one more time real quick before I, end this video. Now you need to keep it separate, if you have more than one bank and more than one phone number. And, in this case with Merrick Bank, since they were calling me 4 times a day, that would be 4 lines. So every day, wow, 10 days is already 40 lines I'm using on the page, to keep track of the phone calls. Since it was 6 different phone numbers, so in one day they used 4 calls would be on one phone number. So I figured, wait a minute, it'd be a lot easier. So on one line I put the date, the day, and the number they used, and any comment, I put that. Then on the next line I just put all the calls. You could fit about 6 calls on one line, so you can see the calls better that way by having it like that instead of going down, because you're seeing them right across for that day. 4, 5, 6, whatever. Because if it was more than you could fit on the line, you'd have to go to another line. But just think, as an example, you're only using 2 lines instead of 4. So it's going to be a lot easier to keep track of it. If you don't feel like writing it down, I know what it is. It's a pain. You're going to have to go to caller ID. If you're out or doing what you're doing, and you're going to be able to take it off of there. So you've got to keep up with it. Now, one more thing about if you want to use the computer, I don't know exactly how to do that. I did it with the email. I got familiar with email. I'm writing a lot of emails and all, and get a lot of emails. So I said, well, let me go into the email, and I'll put, for the subject, I'll put Merrick Bank phone log for landline and cell phone. So you can put both on the same page, with the email. So you put that in the subject matter. Then you go down and you where it says compose or whatever, and you just put a line. You could do it, make it easier, just put Merrick Bank cell phone and then put in one day. Like I said, you put one line and then the phone calls, and then go down a couple spaces and do Merrick Bank landline and do the same thing. So when you add the cell phone every day, it's going to move it down, and then you do the landline. So you can do them both at the same time. That way you can have a running total like that, and it just goes to draft. Anything you hit, it's going to go to draft. So the next day, you go in the draft, and you add in the information. So now, you get the attorney, you could just put his email address in, and add some information. You can still add it, and then send it to him. So you'll have a jump on it, But once you do that, once you send it, you can't add any more calls. You'd have to start another one for the calls again. So I just mentioned that. It might, make it easy for somebody out there to keep track. everything I've covered here should help somebody out there, because credit is something that everybody wants, everybody has it, and you need it. I mean, if you could pay your bills and you don't have to have all that credit, you'd be better off. I mean, I'm not, after this account, I don't think I'll be getting any credit for now. I want to wait to get most of those accounts they'll be, be forgiven and all. Then I'll decide, Better to pay as you go. Right now I have to. I can't do anything else. Okay, so I guess this is going to be it for this video. And you can check all the other ones, and you can check, on YouTube. I know everybody knows that. Anybody that's on social media, you can go on YouTube and punch in Frank Leeper, L-E-E-P-E-R. All my videos are coming up. They won't put them in order. They're going to be mixed in, with everything else. So that way you could check out anytime you want. In case you missed some of them, you want to go back and you want to view them or listen to them. Fine, you have the description also. There's a lot in the description that I write. It may be different than what I'm saying, depends. I might go into detail on one thing there, and on a few of them I put the phone log. I actually typed it in, in the description. So it's not that difficult, but I know a lot of people don't know how to go about it. If you've never done that, you don't know it for sure, So you could, since the videos are pretty long that I've been doing, you could actually read the description quicker and just listen to the video at the same time, I appreciate everybody that's view my videos. I thank you very much, and have a great day.